And we begin this Sunday morning with America's soft economic war with China and President Trump's efforts to de-escalate this weekend. The president now allowing exemptions to his reciprocal tariffs on smartphones, laptop computers, and the machines that make semiconductor chips, all electronics largely produced outside of America. The new temporary policy narrows the scope of items that fall under President Trump's 145% tariff on China and Chinese imports, which this week sparked retaliation from Communist China, which hit back with its own 125% tariff on U.S. goods. More on the escalating trade war with China and its impact on the economy from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon shortly. But first, as President Trump was battling Communist China over the cost of trade in Washington, he was also deploying Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to battle the communist nation's dominance at one of America's key shipping lanes at the Panama Canal. On Wednesday, the U.S. and Panama agreed to a deal that reaffirms Panama's sovereignty and outlines new military cooperation. The president sending troops to the Panama Canal to defend American interests after years of China exerting influence over the vital waterway, in which over 40% of U.S. container traffic passes through that canal on a yearly basis. A $23 billion deal between American investment firm BlackRock and Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison for 43 ports, including 2 ports at the Panama Canal, is now on hold after the Chinese Communist Party announced it is investigating the deal in an effort to stop it. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, just back from the Panama Canal, joins me right now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive. Secretary, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
Tell us about the trip and what are the most important takeaways that we need to understand about the Panama Canal.
Well, President Trump said in his State of the Union address, China has too much influence over the Panama Canal and America's going to take it back. And that's exactly what I was charged to do, what we're continuing to do. China's influence cannot control our own backyard, especially a critical waterway, key terrain like the Panama Canal. You mentioned 40% of ships are U.S. ships. 75% are going to or from a port. So we were able to secure 2 historic agreements. One with the Panama Canal Authority, that our ships, our military vessels and auxiliary vessels will travel first and free through that Panama Canal. And then we also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Defense Secretary over there and the President that established a robust and growing U.S. presence, right? You need to secure that key terrain. So Fort Sherman will reopen jointly with the Panamanians, a jungle school, and we're going to have a larger U.S. presence at the invitation of Panama, working with them to keep the Communist Chinese out. If we can't use that waterway in a key contingency, then China has an advantage. Other presidents have allowed us, we've